Morning. Looks like we can get to work at once. The union muscle turned up. They look rowdy. We should talk to them. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the union. These men here, men who drink beer for breakfast, there's talk of an armed wing of the union called the Hardy Boys, who are responsible for state policing. I think it's them. Everything points to the dock workers' union. The tracks in the mud, the circumstances in Martinez, my preliminary information. Which may, of course, all be wrong. But we still need to talk to them, and it won't be easy. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the manager said. One loose thread less to worry about, and one big problem to replace it. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM and the Debarders Union. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool head, okay? One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real? Good. You got the room for the night, but remember, you'll need another 20 real tomorrow.
Just a moment.
She's agitated, judging from the way she keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
And there's no public phones nearby?
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. I'm glad...
The lady is distressed. Perhaps something more upbeat might cheer her up.
Please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there, or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel. That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully.
A cold breeze hisses through dense thickets of reeds. Something sweet in it, somnolent. A damp chill goes down your spine. When you look around, you're still in the whirling in rags.
You have more important things to worry about. Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect. But they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The waterlock. That was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day. Oh my, what happened to the water lock? Oh, sweetie, if it weren't for you, I'd be looking forward to another sleepless night. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you both.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired, and it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more precise.
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research.
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology was embraced by the academic elite.
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle. Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. Via dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident, and he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful. Oh, sweetie, it's fascinating. But I shouldn't bore you with entomological minutiae.
The lieutenant gives you a sideways glance.
Well, it's a phasmid, technically, but...
Ah yes, Phasmatodia, a diverse group of insects whose bodies resemble twigs, leaves, that sort of thing. Ghost insects, colloquially.
Where other phasmids imitate sticks or leaves, this one's a living reed. It disguises itself among the reeds here on the Insulindian coast. Hence its name, the Insulindian phasmid. Perhaps you'll end up co-discovering the phasmid with us, officers.
I knew it. We're gonna be chasing made-up insects with cryptozoologists.
It's not made up, officer. I can assure you. It's simply elusive, so much so that most establishment zoologists doubt it exists at all. Well, some teenagers making out in the reeds saw one. They didn't know what it was, of course, but there was a brief article in a local newspaper about their encounter with a ghost insect that looks like the reeds. Gary sent us the clipping. Of course, most phasmid sightings turn out to be false alarms, but their description matched the Insulindian phasmid perfectly, and they didn't even know what they were looking at.
Enthusiasm has wiped the worry from her face. Her eyes sparkle behind her glasses.
I suppose I have something of a personal connection to the Insulindian phasmid. All scientists have their little hobby horses. Not at all. Why else would it hide itself so carefully? Oh, I doubt it. No one gets into cryptozoology for the money, sweetie. Yes, it can blend in almost perfectly among the reeds. It's how it stayed hidden all these years, centuries even. Oh dear, I'm afraid I'm not explaining this very well. It is very special. Morel can explain it all much better. I wish you could hear him describe it. Then you'd understand, I'm sure.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on and ask.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company too.
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza. And I don't. Just one.
Ooh, tough choice there.
The gnome of Jeroma. Oh, yes. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue. It was, reportedly, a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and a gangly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
Hey, you promised you'd only ask about one cryptid. Ah, fuck it. Let's have more cryptids.
Well, the biggest cryptid is, of course, the horrible giant of Kokonur. The giant lives in the most arid parts of the vast Kokonur Desert in South Samara, casting a strange light across the barren wastes. A mirage or a psychogenous luminance. No one knows for sure. It is like an awful mountain appearing from below the horizon and expanding to cover almost a third of your field of vision. The towering luminosity of Kokonur is a bad omen in local folklore. Some say it's a fata morgana, others, fate unimaginable.
Hui. No animal can be that large. It's a mirage.
That's what makes it so peculiar. A species surviving at the very limits of scientific law. The giant of Kokonur must be the largest animal the planet can support. There are limits, you see, to how large a metabolism an ecosystem can beget. Some say a gravity anomaly below the Kokonur Desert might allow the creature to grow to these gargantuan sizes.
Gravity anomaly? Digging it. Digging this parascientific stuff right here.
Of course, dear.
Let me handle this.
You seem a little different today. Less hospitable.
You are far from home, Lieutenant. This isn't a district known for its love of self-proclaimed militiamen.
Not a muscle moves in her face, but her eyes trace yours, stern and perceptive.
You are looking for Titus Hardy, who you think has information on a murder the RCM is investigating. You want to interview him. That's Titus. Talk to him, but know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming, nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her.
Obviously, I'm a lawyer, a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. I would urge you to consider what you say to my clients. What are we going to do to you? The union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor organization.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress. What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one. Aggressive, you make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again.
Listen, you Moralington lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask. or get back to your commanders. Let's.
This is where you say your bit.
Detective.
Oh, this is about him. A real looker, that won't.
You're sure taking your time, waiting for him to get ripe and pretty for you, huh?
Oh, he was a real pretty boy by now. Real hot stuff. Letting out that pretty boy smell.
Time to go to work in the shit factory!
Easy, boys. These janitors have a hell of a job cut out for them. I mean, I wouldn't go in there for $1 million.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than this.
These guys are so macho, they're ready to confess to first-degree murder. Ask if it was them. Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw in the yard. Chances are they're going to match. Starting from the right, boot size 44, blonde man, in his 30s, overbearingly masculine. Sitting on his right, standard working boots, size 45 or 46, eldest in the room, probably mid-50s, smoker, quiet. Across at the other table, hobnailed working boots, size 43, gang tattoos, Mesk or Sarah Mauritian, in his late 30s, early 40s. He spent his youth in Villa Labos, a housing project in the Jamrock quarter. There were incarcerations, hard to say what else. The ink is fading. And then, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 46, the big dick, wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips, rugby cap, fingerless gloves, and numerous scars, a little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain. In the far corner, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 44, 40-something, non-alcoholic beverage in hand. You squint. Is that a plectrum? On his neck. Forget it. It's not important. Let's call this one the musician. Size 41, with the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face, mean, watery eyes, and 2 front teeth missing. In the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy, boot size 46, deep marks, probably carried the victim over. He alone is 130 kilos. Add the man in armor, and you could easily exceed 220. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy. Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th Hardy?
The fuck is with you, fella?
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? Excellent. That will be 10 real for one set of magnetic dice. I don't do orders on credit. Come back when you have the full amount. Excellent. That will be 10 real for one set of magnetic dice. This was an especially fun set to make.
Dazzling. It's like you have a pair of tiny disco balls in your hand.
What do you want to know? Good.
Looks like the circus left town, but the clowns are still here. The pretty boy. You guys really love talking about that pretty boy.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
You mean these boots? We all got a pair. We wore them the night we took the pretty boy out back and hung him by the neck. Yeah, we did this. Together, all of us, until he was dead. That's why our prints are all over the scene.
No, you don't. What you have is 7 honest men who thought it forthcoming to tell you what happened, so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
Yeah, lawman. Why don't you?
It's almost an anthropological sight, watching him try to assert dominance over you.
Not in the arresting mood?
Look, coppers, I know you think you're doing your job here, but there are 7 of us and 2 of you.